Hello and welcome to ET Global Town Hall, a global business leadership forum curated by Economics Times Business Vertical. In this special fireside chat, focus of India Edge in New Normal, I am joined by very senior and experienced government technology leader, the chairman of Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, Dr. R.S. Sharma. Dr. Sharma belongs to 1978 batch of Indian Administrative Service. He has served in various capacity as the Chief Secretary of Jharkhand, Director General of Aadhaar, and Secretary IT in Government of India, before being Chairman of Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. Due to his expertise and immense contribution towards the digital transformation of the country, he is considered among the top torchbearer of e-governance in the country. Dr. Sharma, welcome to ET Global Town Hall.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me to this town hall. It is as I can see the list of participants, they are such stalwarts in the area of, various areas, governance, technology. And it's really a pleasure and privilege to be amongst such a company of such exalted people. I'm a very small man compared to them, but then I'm very happy. Thank you very much.
Dr. Sharma, I'll begin with the question that, the entire world is going through the pandemic right now. So what kind of impact do you see on telecom infra or connectivity? And what kind of challenge that you see is going to be on telecom infra in the country in the light of current pandemic?
Well, thank you very much for this question. I think it's an extremely important and relevant question at this point in time. Since last about 4 months, we have been going through this pandemic, and there have been lockdowns, and now, of course, we are going through an unlock of the country, and one doesn't really know as to when it is going to end, what is the shape of things to come in near future. But I think what important thing we have to do is that we have to enable the public to continue normal life while staying at home. That seems to be the most important work for all governments, civil societies, technology people. Everybody has to ensure that. And this is being made possible by the telecom sector. As we practice social distancing, the only way to maintain a semblance of normalcy is to connect remotely. And the most important thing which is required for doing all this is the high speed and reliable and ubiquitous broadband connectivity. Therefore, in the space of last few months, the public is relying more on the use of information and communication technology platforms and telecom connectivity in comparison to physical infrastructure such as rail, road, air transport networks. Post-pandemic era will see a change in the way we live, work, and interact. We will live in a world which facilitates socializing and economic growth with minimized human contact. Like clean water and electricity, broadband access has to become a modern day necessity. As millions of workers are unable to get to their workplaces, employers will accelerate their automation. Artificial intelligence and Internet of Things plans, besides mobile edge computing, will get a further boost due to the surging demand for faster content delivery and enablement of ultra low latency business applications. While we have over 660 million mobile data users, fixed broadband users are just about 19 millions. And during the last few months, uptake of the online financial transactions, video streaming, e-commerce, and e-governance has increased significantly. Most schools and colleges shifted to online mode of teaching. This lockdown in India saw a surge in the network capacity utilizations. Our estimates suggest that there have been 20 to 25% increase in data traffic. Further, the network traffic has been redistributed from the commercial areas to residential areas. As home data consumption grows and the home Wi-Fi networks operate at enterprise levels, the need of the hour is to shore up the fixed line broadband penetration also across the country. Just to give you a data point, we have had 1.25 billion UPI payment transactions, which actually is the number is surging every month. And the reason is that people are now adopting digital in comparison to physical.
You mentioned about the telecom infrastructure. What we are noticing across the globe, there is a movement towards 5G. But in India, there seems to be some delay on 5G. Also, some of the operators are actually a bit cautious on the price part, base price part. So, don't you think so that if we don't match with the global standard on 5G, possibly this transformation of telecom infra that will come via 5G may get delayed slightly?
No, let's look at this problem from two perspectives. One is the issue of the government or the regulator enabling the development of 5G. Now that
Right.
requires two things. One is obviously availability of a spectrum, because while we don't tag any spectrum with any technology, at the same time there are certain bands which are said to be suitable for 5G. So one is the availability of spectrum. And as you know, the TRAI has already given recommendations to the government for auctioning 5G. As regards the base price being high, we do not agree with that proposition. Base price is very reasonable. Nevertheless, the government has all the power to kind of modify, change, whichever way they want to take the recommendations of TRAI. So that's part one. And I'm told the government is going to auction the spectrum in the near future. The second is the issue of the operators undertaking their 5G kind of work. Now that will require obviously investments, and that will also require use cases. So one will have to figure out as to what are the use cases of 5G in our country. And I'm sure the operators will take a business decision with regard to deployment of 5G. And I am not one of those fellows who believes that India is going to lie behind the curve on 5G. India is actually on the front of the technology curve, and I'm sure we will not be left behind in that area also.
Absolutely. Very recently, you wrote a very passionate article on the importance of having open protocol. Can we have this open architecture within the telecom infrastructure? Is it possible to have all sort of open architecture for even telecom infrastructure?
Yeah, thank you very much for asking that question. I think it's a very question close to my heart, because as I have said in that article, build platforms, not products, has been the mantra for the last few decades. And the most valuable companies today are building the platform for search, social interactions, advertising, insurance, travel, real estate, etc. Now, the problem with this kind of approach is that, at the end of the day, it's a winner takes all situation where a couple of platforms remain in the field and rest of them are gobbled by them, or actually they get finished. Now, we have shown in a few domains how to create open and frugal solutions on top of the internet. As you know, internet is a completely open platform, and the whole idea is because it's actually working on protocols which everybody follows, and therefore it was able to connect disparate kind of machines and systems into a unified network. In fact, people asked who controls internet, and the answer is no, none. So it's the most democratic infrastructure created in the world, and therefore what is required is we need to have similar kind of infrastructures on top of that, and that infrastructure obviously will come on top of protocols. And we have shown, for example, in Unified Payment Interface (UPI), it's a set of protocols that standardizes the language of money transfer. So we need to have come up with common language for each domain. It is an interface and a clearing house that relays well-formed requests to concerned parties for execution. Open protocols create ecosystems that are non-rivalrous. They are not really exclusion-based, they are inclusive. And they are not excludable by design, unlike platform where participation is at the discretion of the platform provider. And there's every chance of exploitation, which is actually happening. And
Right.
many platform sort of participants are complaining of such discretion. We can have an open architecture in telecom networks also. TRAI in the past has mooted the concept of open architecture based public Wi-Fi grid to bring down the cost of internet. Actually, the Vani framework which we promoted or which we proposed to the government is one such open architecture based protocol. The vision of this initiative is to establish an open architecture based Wi-Fi access network that will allow small entrepreneurs such as tea stalls, grocery shops, and vendors to set up and maintain access points. Device manufacturers, payment companies, ISPs, telcos, and consumer internet companies can provide the remaining connectivity elements to set up public data offices, PDOs. PDOs are like the PCOs of yesterday and will be small companies or even small merchants interested in providing Wi-Fi hotspots to public, either free or on payment model. This is a very cost-effective solution for the internet and users, where the products are available for consumption of sachet size and low denomination. So yes, an open architecture is possible, but companies must take the lead in developing innovative solutions to solve complex problems. And my belief is that given the scale and the numbers which we have, and given the price sensitive market which we have, I think open architecture based solutions, even in telecom, are going to become the most appropriate solutions for our country. And because we have devised such solutions in the past, and we have a whole stack of kind of these Lego uh, pieces, I think we can build open architecture based solutions.
Absolutely. One trend we are also witnessing is, there is a broader consensus that the global manufacturing supply chain for all the sectors will spread more than one country. It is going to be, slightly spreading from China. In that light, India can be a destination of choice for different sectors like electronic, computer hardware, pharmaceutical, including medical devices and all. What is your assessment of the situation? How India is ready to imbibe this opportunity?
Look, as you yourself, sort of said that the entire supply chain over the years has become concentrated in one country. But I think neither this is desirable, nor I think the trend will continue for a long time. Today in China, labor costs are rising and there are shortages of skilled workforce. In addition, manufacturing hubs of Southeast Asia are blossoming and they are increasingly becoming more cost effective in comparison to China. But the bigger question is how India can attract the companies leaving from China and become a destination of choice for manufacturing. For India to become the ideal destination for global manufacturing in the post pandemic world, we need to adopt right policies and give just enough incentive to the manufacturing sector. We need to do an in-depth analysis of the issues and requirements of the manufacturing industry at the grassroots level. Then only there will be any substantial investment in this area. The good part is that the government is already working on those aspects. I believe government policies relating to electronics and local handset manufacturing have paid rich dividends. But more needs to be done, particularly to push domestic manufacturing of telecom equipments and ensure further value addition. You must understand that it is important that while the handset is one part of the telecom, sort of ecosystem, the more important part is the central kind of, central equipments which are used in the telecom networks inside. And it is strategically important for us to ensure that they are manufactured domestically. We have released our recommendations on promoting local telecom equipment manufacturing on 3rd of August 2018 to the Department of Telecom. TRAI recommended that India should aim to achieve the objective of net zero import of telecommunication equipment by 2022. For this purpose, Telecom Equipment Manufacturing Council, TEMC, should identify and recommend specific areas of priorities. Further, participation of indigenous research institutions, telecom service providers, and telecom equipment manufacturing companies in deliberation at international organizations like IEEE, 3GPP, 1M, 2M, ITU, and ETSI should be encouraged. And I think we are doing and we are taking active steps in that direction to ensure that we actually attract a lot of investment in these areas.
Absolutely, absolutely. Dr. Sharma, how critical is the connectivity piece on the idea of digital India? Because your experience of connectivity is, completely different region-wise. So, for example, if you are in Itanagar, you have a different experience of connectivity. Shillong is slightly different, and if you go to Guwahati, possibly your experience was slightly different. So, how critical is this connectivity piece? And in your views, what should be our next focus? Have we been able to fix the connectivity piece?
Well, thank you again for that question. I think it's very important. As you know, the Digital India is a flagship program of the Government of India. It's also a program which Honorable Prime Minister takes personal interest in its monitoring and its implementation. And as you know, Digital India is based on three broad vision areas. Objective of Digital India is to transform India into a digitally empowered society and knowledge economy. The three areas, one is the connectivity infrastructure. Connectivity as a ubiquitous connectivity as a utility to citizens. That's the first area. Because without connectivity, you can't have any digital kind of infrastructure running on top of it. And the second one is software and services on demand running on the digital infrastructure. And the third is, of course, citizens empowerment, which should be empowered to use that infrastructure. So what is happening is that the connectivity piece is the basic piece on which everything has to stand. And therefore, it's very important, and we have been kind of, trying to be very, very concerned about this situation, that we need to improve the fixed line connectivity in this country. Mobile banking, digital payments, all applications are there. And applications, actually, India has also created what is called an India stack, which actually ensures that we have all the pieces. We have the digital identity as a pluggable piece in almost all transactions. We have the various other artifacts like digital locker, which is actually a private space on public cloud. Then we have the digital signatures on demand. We have, the payment gateway, payment sort of protocols. So everything is there. What is important is that we improve the digital connectivity. And the telecom networks and internet connectivity will feature extensively in any economic activities such as banking, retail, education, health, etc. In my view, the biggest challenge before the industry in the next 5 years would be to meet the growing demand of data communications and support billions of machines or objects or things to communicate. It would not only require huge investments in the digital communication infrastructure, but also close cooperation at horizontal level with other sectors of economy. Different sector regulators need to collaborate to support digital transformation of various industries. Please understand that the telecommunication infrastructure, the connectivity, because digital is going to become the primary mode of operation of every transaction in some sense. Therefore, the digital connectivity is the most important, part of the infrastructure in our country. And I believe that now it is not a vertical anymore. It's actually a horizontal platform on which all sectors of economy are going to depend.
Right.
And therefore, I think the most critical kind of area which we have to look into is the digital connectivity. And I think we should employ all kinds of technologies, business models, and sort of investments, whatever is required to be done in order to ensure that we put single-handedly, single-mindedly our focus on improving the digital connectivity, and that is what is going to yield us rich dividends in future.
Right. Dr. Sharma, thank you for joining us today at ET Global Town Hall. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much for having me on your Global Town Hall, and I wish it all the success. I'm sure the deliberations here and the sort of the speeches of the stalwarts which are going to participate in it are going to contribute immensely to the purpose and object for which you are having this town hall. Thank you very much.